Welcome back to Angel Bread Stories. I'm Brad, the man behind the writing and the sultry baritones. Before we start, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You know the drill. And if you'd like to be part of the community, we have a Discord server linked in the description below. But without further ado, sit back, take a deep breath, and relax. And I hope you enjoy the video. Hi guys, and welcome to this video. So, I am just going over the Estathrios Pantheon, which I believe I've done a video on a long time ago in the past. And it's a pantheon of gods that I was making that I haven't really touched since, mostly because I didn't have time because of the joys of uni, the many joys of uni. But now that I don't have to deal with that anymore, here I am, and I want to get to it. I've also, as you can probably see, hopefully, on the screen, I have a flowchart up that I've just got up on Canva and done some really basic editing to make it look half decent, and I'm just going to start putting it down in a slightly more organized digital form, because right now it's all scribblings on my big sketchbook with a bunch of random lines and question marks and scribbles, and it does look like the scrawlings of a madman. So I'm going to try organize it a little bit. I have organized a certain amount on a page that I'm on now, and I have the three primordial forces of creation, and then all of the cosmic deities down there, and then moving down to the soulless deities, which I don't quite have down yet. I was thinking about this. This is something, like I said, I haven't touched in a while, but I have been thinking on it a few times over the years, and I was thinking about the concept of those things that have there's always a god of something, like there's a god of everything, and I was kind of thinking about, from Baldur's Gate 3, we see Gale become the god of ambition in one of his endings, and it kind of made me think about, more, do I want mortals to be able to kind of become gods? Do I want not all gods to have been to have just kind of been there from the beginning, and there's always been a god of everything? Because the way I'm telling this story of the creation of the gods, how like there were the primordial forces of creation, out came the kind of cosmic deities, and from them the soulless deities, and the soulless deities are the ones with kind of personalities, or with kind of a true consciousness, because the primordial forces of creation and the cosmic deities are, especially the cosmic deities, like you could, if you were a mortal, say, and you could commune with those gods, but they're kind of not inhuman, but they're more apathetic, simply because their perspective is so vast. And like, if we take, for example, the firmament. The firmament is all space. The firmament is all of space. So, if you tried telling all of space that you want its blessing so you can stop the man who robbed you, it just kind of doesn't quite care about you that much. So it is something to think about, like, if my gods do kind of have personalities and they do have human traits, I say human traits, they have consciousness and awareness of themselves, and there is a story of them being created and being born. There is a finite point upon which they came into existence. They're not kind of like one of those omnipresent gods that have existed throughout all of time forever, or like the chaos gods from Warhammer. Um, so I, I kind of, yeah, I don't like the idea of them being kind of always like, oh, they have a birth, but they've also existed throughout all of time, because it just kind of gets a little bit confusing. And I know they're gods, kind of supposed to be incomprehensible to us mortals, but I still kind of want. I think I do prefer them to have some kind of timeline. So, anyway, for the first bit, let's get these down. So the first of our primordial forces of creation is infinity. So I hope my keyboard isn't too loud, because it's a mechanical keyboard and it does clicky clack quite a bit. I literally have just forgotten the name I just said, infinity. So, infinity is, I described the firmament as all space, but that's wrong, actually. Infinity is space, all of space, and with infinity comes. Let me copy this over. I shall duplicate. There we go. With infinity comes eternity. So there's space, time, and I have a third one. I have majesty, which is all magic. So, from here, I don't think this is big enough for all of them. Can I size these down? I can. It feels a bit weird to have them in such a tiny box. I don't think that quite works, does it? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to go with that. Let me undo. I made so many adjustments, didn't I? There we go. Yeah, this is quite small. I can add more pages, so I suppose it doesn't matter too much, does it? Okay. So, let's say... Also, these arrows are too dark, aren't they? Let's make them white. It's easier to see, I think. White. 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 There we go. So, from infinity came the firmament, which I'm going to look through my stuff here and try to remind myself of what is the firmament. Oh, if you heard that, that was my elbow making contact with the edge of my desk. I am in pain. So in some of my notes, I've instead of the firmament, I've just put the stars in some of my earliest things. Hmm. So eternity is time, yes. Aspects of gods, primordial being, the stars. This is me figuring out where I wanted them to come from. So from the firmament. I remember the firmament was, at least I believe I remember correctly, that the firmament breaks down into corpority, Maxim, and Mercuria, which I don't know which one's which, but I know that. Let me grab this. Da, 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 da. It says somewhere where I decide their names. I know it does. Matter. One of them is matter. One of them is energy. I think the other one is gravity, if I remember correctly. Matter, force, energy. So matter is corpority. Energy is Mercuria. And Maxim is, I've put force/law. So like the laws of physics basically is Maxim. Okay. That's good. It's good that I've reminded myself of that, because past me did not make as detailed notes as he could have about the decisions he made. And I will be having a word with him. So from infinity comes two things, and one of them is... Actually, where's my elements? Arrows. Can I just have a line? Line. There you go. Shapes. Line. Yeah. Lovely. Move you. Put you in the middle. Put you down there. And then you can go there. And like there, yes. Not really crossing though, are you? Good. Duplicate. There is a flip button, isn't there? There we go. Swap line ends. That'll do. I should rename this video to Old Man and tries to decipher technology. That's what this feels like. I'm here going, how does this work? How does that work? I don't understand. Yeah, no, I do not have enough room to do all of these with such large boxes. So let's, like this one, I'll put in the firmament. And then if we scale down the firmament to, let's put these guys on 16 font size. And I think this is slightly more appropriate, isn't it? We can group that, duplicate it, and then I can still access these. Good. Although I need to make it smaller, like that. Yeah, I might need to do this with all of them actually. I could rearrange everything. I just think that's a little better for me, to have them be smaller. And they're not going to be the exact right size anymore though, are they? And that's going to annoy me. As in, they're not going to be equal size. But, screw it. Done approximately. Cool. And the firmament... need you to be small. Actually, what am I doing? I can just... boop. 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 Once more. Old man figures out technology. So, we have the firmament, and we also have... I need to put this away somewhere. Pop it up there, I suppose. The firmament and the hollow. So I think the way I'm trying to remember, I think the firmament is like creation, if I remember correctly. Infinity is all of space, like the entire universe, and eternity is all of time, and majesty is all of magic. I think. I think the firmament is like all of creation. Not all of creation, but like I know I must have come up with some kind of explanation. I can't quite remember. Next time. Oh well. I'll keep typing down and I will figure it out over time. And again, I still don't quite have enough room. I can see that quite clearly already. So I'm going to put these down a little bit. It's like 16. That's really small. But I will manage despite my aging eyes. My very aging eyes. I don't know if this is the same for anyone else, but like past like 2 years, my eyesight's just gone. It's just dying. From eternity, we have quite a few. Let me copy this, move it up to the middle, connect there, and then well, I'm going to need another one, aren't I? Actually, this one I will just copy. I'll copy from these two and try to grab just these two. Oops. That's not what I meant to do. Again, still not what I meant to do. Please help me, God. There we go. You will not let me flip you. That's fine. I'll just kind of do that instead. You're at 39. You are at 39. Cool. Good. Cool. I've gotta remember I am trying to I need to keep talking throughout this. You don't want me just silently doing nothing. That's a little weird, isn't it? But when I'm thinking, I go quiet because I don't have enough brain power to talk and think at the same time. Because I'm a bit dumb. You are touching each other and not in a good way. Can I not size you down a bit? No, I cannot. This pains me. The entirety of this knowledge pains me. So, from eternity came fate. Came fate. Commencement. Discontinuance. You know what? I bet some of you out there remember these better than I do because you've watched the video and you may have watched it a few times to help you get to sleep. I bet for you this has sunk into your brains more than it has mine. So you're going to be in the comments going, "That's what it is, Brad, you idiot." Well, actually, past you said that it's absolutely not that at all, and you're dumb. So, fate, commencement, and discontinuance. So, fate is obviously, as it says on the tin, is fate. Commencement is beginnings, and discontinuance is ends. So, and then from Majesty comes. Let me just copy that. Whoops. Let me copy this whole thing here. No, I want more than that. I want all of that. Good. Boop. Nope. What did I do? No. There we go. And copy this. Actually, you can probably come from this side. So, from Majesty comes Arcanus. And again, I've done it. Arcanus is magic. Surely. This is. I'm as confused. What was past me thinking? What are you three? I guess if I've described those three as the primordial forces of creation, maybe they're just not very particularly sentient themselves, are they? And they're more the concepts, and then the gods themselves are actually sentient and doing something. So I have Arcanus, and I have Quintessence, which is life. And this is where I get some of my first crossovers between. Let me delete this. Some of my first crossovers between these two separate things. This is really bothering me. I'm not okay. Oh, oh wait, no. It's because eternity's slightly higher, isn't it? So if we drop eternity. Oh. If we drop eternity to where it's meant to be. Oh, that healed something in me. Oh, that looks a lot better. Oh, by the way, you don't need to be watching this. I know I'm going to be referencing to what I'm seeing on the screen, but you really don't need to watch. You can close your eyes. You don't even really need to be listening to what I'm saying. Just kind of think of me as your friend that's yapping to you. That's something really nerdy, and you're trying really, 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 really hard to care about what I'm saying, but you really, 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 really don't. So you're not actually listening. And I don't mind that at all. So, on the other side of things of quintessence, no, that's not what I meant to do. From quintessence, I'm going to shorten this down a bit. Is that really straight? That's not straight. Come on. That's like me saying I'm straight. You're 1 degree off, aren't you? Yeah, you are. How dare you? And I need line. Duplicate yourself for me. And then from, I'm going to take this line from discontinuance. Oh, actually, we would take this line from discontinuance if the other one was long enough. Okay, you are at 90. Good. And this one joins up here. And from endings and life. So from the end of life comes fatality, death. And what's some others I've got? Yes, these two. Yes. So I need this to move, actually. So, oh, that is not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted either. Again, like I said, I should rename this video. Old man attempts to understand technology and fails. Can you believe it? I used to be a computer science major. I have a Microsoft Academy cybersecurity certificate in no, sorry, security fundamentals certificate in cybersecurity. I've messed that up. Basically, I have a cybersecurity thing from Microsoft. I've forgotten the name. And how I got that when I'm so clearly an idiot, I don't know. I was one of 2 people that passed that. Clearly past me was a little brighter than present me, who evidently has some problems going on. There we go, put that in the same line. And then duplicate this. Bring it here. And from commencement comes... Yeah, I'll put the line up there, actually. I'll duplicate this. And just say you connect there, and you connect there. So from commencement and discontinuance, which, as I've said, is just beginning and endings, comes isochronous, which I believe is cycles. So from so from commencement, discontinuance, we have isochronos, cycles. From fate, we have 2 things. I like these 2. If I remember, I had a story. I got a story about these 2, and I liked it. See, I've done 2 different things here, haven't I? Yeah, this needs 2 separate arrows. I've been a little bit of a dum-dum. I need to have more thoughts in my brain. But I struggle because I'm such an idiot. There we go. Other one. That's not what I want. Just you, please. Thank you. Why are you moving this with you? Are you grouped? Why are you moving? Oh, it's because you're attached there. So you considered not being attached there? Okay, well, you can go there then, can't you? That scared me. It was ice in my cup. It somehow scared me. That's nothing. Where is... Why are you going flat difficult for you? Why must you make my life hell? You know, actually, I take back my comments about my cybersecurity stuff, because the one thing I hated doing it was web development, which of course involved me occasionally having to do graphical stuff. And I'm not at all graphically gifted when it comes to technology, so here I am suffering. Oh, dearie me. I'm sure there is an easier way to do this that someone has already figured out or already knows. There's probably typing up in the comments, screaming, crying, and telling me how much easier this all could have been if I wasn't such a plank. But alas, I'm the plankiest of them all, so I only need this to be longer. I'll actually put this down to here. Can you do it at 90 degrees, please? I'd really appreciate it. There we go. And then we'll actually just copy. No, that's not what I have to do. We'll just duplicate this. Wee. Lovely. Okay. Whew. Oh, why is that to be such a struggle for me? And here, next to Isochronos. This is too big, too big. I hate it. Move this. And in turn, move this. Oh, you're a little too close to the actual center there. You can go a little further in as well. There we go. Why are you not actually aligned? Why are you like this? Why do you insist on paining me so? Hmm? And why can I not? There we go. They have the tiniest gap between them, and I will. Oh no, they don't. There we go. That'll do. So, from fate comes possibility. And, oh, because you're not quite right, are you? So you need to come up to meet it. And you need to be at 0. Oh my god, okay, I'll hit you. 33. 33, good, thank god. Okay, they're at the end. You had it perfectly there for a second. Boop. Possibility and inevitability. So the whole deal with inevitability and possibility is fate is there. Like, imagine someone who has built the entire timeline, right? The entire timeline of existence, and inevitability goes, that's really, really great. You should keep everything as it is. And possibility comes along and goes, wouldn't it be really, really nice if we changed this one tiny, tiny, tiny thing? And inevitability goes, no, because if you change that one tiny, tiny thing, we have to change all of these things for the rest of time. And possibility goes, ooh, but I think it would be really, really good. And fate goes, I think that's a good idea, actually. I will change it. And then inevitability and possibility is basically just there constantly arguing against each other to get fate to either keep something or change something. And that was my way of saying fate exists, but I don't like the idea, in storytelling at least, that time is a predetermined thing. The entire timeline is predetermined, because it takes away the whole concept of self-determination, doesn't it? So I like the idea that fate can be changed, and that's because of its quote-unquote children, inevitability and possibility. So from the firmament comes fun things which are going to take up too much room. So we're going to put this right here, and then we're going to duplicate this and put it down here. We're going to duplicate it again and move it down a little bit. And we're going to duplicate it again and move it down a little bit, like that. And that works perfectly. And it can stay like that. Doop, 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 doop. Right, these don't quite fit. So you need to move even more, like probably right to the end. There we go. You guys are going to be far apart, aren't you? Alright, I think they're like barely enough. Cool. I really hope nothing needs to be created from any of these three, because goddamn. Have I spelled that right? Priority. E-I-I-E. E-I, Variety. And then we have Maxim. Maxim, M-A-X-I-M. And then Curia. Mercuria, and then there's only one more thing that I have put down on this little pantheon that I've drawn out here. There's only one more that I've actually properly done, and we'll have to come up with the rest and do them ourselves. Is from the hollow. Why aren't you? Why won't you go straight? Why can't you be straight? I say. Like every conservative parent. There we go. Let me Good. Duplicate. This goes here. This goes here. And then we just need a arrow to come down. This one, I don't mind it being a little discordant with the others. Because, again, it's in the wrong. Please, can you just go 90 degrees for me? Why won't you go 90 degrees for me is probably the best question. I think you are now, aren't you? Good. And I think it is slightly fitting if I give this one a different color and put a different gradient color on it. Here we go. From this, and we're also going to give it black text. Oh. From the hollow, which is the void, came the dark star. Which is not a permanent name. I think I can come up with something better. But we'll see. The Dark Star, I didn't really quite know what I wanted to do, but I kind of wanted it to be a kind of natural antithesis to things that isn't quite sentient as it is conscious. It's more like an animal working off instinct, or a tree that simply grows and reproduces because that's what it is and what it does, and it doesn't really think or feel anything about that. Excuse my chair creak, chair creak, chair creak, chair creak. Boop. And it does things that are not great, and it causes all of the kind of cosmic horror and cosmic evils in this universe. So, from here, I moved on to the Solus gods, or the solar gods, which I think the Solus deities doesn't work anymore, considering that I named one of the deities Solus. But I guess it also could work, considering all of it revolves around Solus. Solus is the star, or is the sun of the world, of the planet Astathrios. So the planet Astathrios revolved around Solus, which was the first star. And so I think we could name them all the Solus deities, but Solus himself would have to be one of the cosmic deities. Is that what I named them? Yes, one of the cosmic deities. So I think we can do that. So the way it works is, I've written it down. So there's the god Danu, which I think it says Danu and quintessence came from Majesty. Danu and quintessence do not come from Majesty in this, do they? It's Arcanus quintessence, so that's changed. So I need to find a way to make Danu. I think Danu might just be Arcanus. No. So I've said, I I'm just gonna read this out, and then it's almost certainly gonna have to be changed, but it is an interesting start. So it says Danu and quintessence came from Majesty. Danu wanted to create life, so asked the firmament to make her a planet. Firmament happily obliged. In brackets, Danu is almost childlike in her enthusiasm for life. This planet needed warmth, so the firmament made Solus, the first star. The firmament then made water for Danu, and thusly her world had water. And I think I ended up naming that water god, didn't I? Telesia. Yeah. Telesia, which is a name I've used in something else, and clearly I must have gotten it from here and forgotten. Okay. And thusly her world had water. Danu created the first basics of life there, but quickly realized that at night things would freeze. So the core of the I like this part. This part I'm definitely keeping. The core of the planet was made molten. The crust was cracked apart, and a heart of fire placed within. This great shift made mountains and other great land features, and also created the continents and the tectonic plates. I like that. I like that a lot as a kind of creation story for the planet. It was now that Quintessence and Danu attempted to make the first sentient race. Now, I think that's not quite the right point for the first sentient race to be made. I also started, if I'm looking at this correctly, started musing about the possibility of a god of magma, which I had a bunch of names here. I had Vatra, Teras, Kerno, Kern, Vatras, Teravtra, I think, yeah, and Veterno. And I said all of those with a slightly kind of Italian accent, and I'm not quite sure why. It kind of felt natural, I suppose. I must have picked those from some kind of Latin. Solus and Lunas. I need to decide how I want the moon to exist. I also considered the dark star. I did consider that this was a binary star system, which is when there are two stars at the center of the solar system. And I'm wondering if I want the dark star to be there, or I don't know. I'll leave it for now. We're almost finished up with this. I have put everything out, everything that I need to on there, and then I think I'll do this again in another video, and we can start actually coming up with some new ones. Quintessence I've put here. This is interesting. I've put here quintessence is the well of souls. I quite like that. Quintessence is life after all. But the well of souls, I think that's a really cool name. I've also made mention of different planes. So the stars / heavens. I think heavens is probably the best, better description. Then put the void, majesty, earth, the sea of souls, the underworld, and then the sea of souls. So it's kind of a layering of, in like D&D and stuff, you have the different planes of existence. So I've started musing on things like that, and I think that's interesting. So I'm trying to look to see if there's anything else I've possibly forgotten. I think before I end this video, I think I will muse a little bit on where I can take the story of Danu and where Danu comes from. Danu is a creation god who a god who wanted to create life. Where does that kind of god come from? I think there's a possibility she comes from commencement, beginnings. She wants to create life. So she comes from commencement. And there's also, what else could she possibly come from? Maybe commencement and quintessence. So like both her the beginnings and magic. But then again, I've got quintessence there, which is no, sorry, quintessence is life. So what if? So from life comes death, right? From the end of life comes death. From the beginning of life, does the beginning of life make Danu? Danu is a name I should probably change because I have just taken it from the old obscure Irish mythology. I should write this down. I should write this down as I decide, or otherwise I will forget by the next time. And then I'm going to have this whole experience all over again. Which, I mean, on the bright side of things, it would mean an infinite supply of videos for me to make as I constantly return to this same subject. And have to figure out what I meant last time. I also have some other names here as a possibility for the Hollow or the Dark Star, I presume. I think I may have originally been considering calling the Hollow the Abhorrence, which I think makes it more evil. And I think I decided not to because I wanted firmament to be space and the Hollow to be the void between space. So, yeah. Did I say corporeity was matter? I think that's what I did say, wasn't it? Let me see. Yeah, matter, force, and energy. So, yeah. There's also the Dark Star was possibly going to be called the just Nemesis, which sounds a little more sci-fi to me in a way. I don't quite know why. So, So let's do this. So let's muse to myself this question of where did Danu come from? I've just made I wish I could show you this. I've just made a really pretty kind of stylized question mark by accident, and I will never be able to recreate it again. So I wish to mark this moment of an achievement I will never be able to recreate. That looks really pretty. I wish I could do that again. So let's say Danu came from. What did I say the possibility was? Commencement and quintessence. So from the beginning and life, from the beginning of life came Danu, which means she is kind of a creationist god, isn't she? She wants to create life. Then she kind of becomes. Does she kind of become the god of birth then? Not quite in the mortal sense of literally being pregnant and giving birth, but like the beginning of things or the beginning of life in general. Does she become the god of literally the beginning of life? And also, who in God's name is Arcanus? again, I think what I've done here is infinity, eternity, and majesty are uh, kind of the planes of existence in a way, or the three most basic parts of reality, and they are beyond comprehension in any way, shape, or form. And like I said, the cosmic deities are ones that are there. They have personality, but their perspective is so vast that you are tiny to them. So maybe majesty is the realm of magic, and Arcanus is just the god of magic. Hmm. What if Danu was something really quite special? This is a possibility. I'll put down. So what if Danu was from Arcanus and Quintessence? And so life and magic plus commencement. Life plus magic plus beginnings. That could be something. But is there any way I can bring in a child of infinity into this? Because it would be really, I think, it'd be a really cool concept if Danu came from the children of infinity, eternity, and majesty. I could make her part of the firmament. She's not really matter, force, or energy, is she? Perhaps. I'm not quite sure. I'm trying to think. Yeah, matter, force, energy, matter, force, energy. Matter, force, energy, matter, force, energy. No, I don't think anything particularly suits her. I could say. No, I can say she is beginnings, magic, and life. Or perhaps from magic. Ah, This, now that I'm thinking about it, quintessence is life. What is life if there isn't already Danu there to ask life to exist? Does Danu confer with quintessence at all? So it says originally Danu and quintessence came from majesty. So is Danu Arcanus? Is Danu magic? And it says that Danu and quintessence together attempted to make the first sentient race. So Danu used life, or worked with life to try create the sentient race. But what is life before that? What does life do? Is it just plant life, for example, and creating an actual sentient race as something different? Hmm. I feel like perhaps Arcanus should be Danu. I think that might be what I intended. But that would kind of have to mean that life came around after Danu basically created it. Or is life, the concept of life being a natural thing that springs from majesty? I do like the idea that life is just this magical thing that just happens. Maybe Danu is quintessence. Maybe Danu is life. And she came into existence and wanted something to create. Hmm. 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 What if instead we put majesty from majesty comes arcanus. Magic, right? And then magic plus commencement, so beginnings, is life, is quintessence. From majesty comes arcanus. Arcanus with commencement creates quintessence, life. So from magic and beginnings comes life. And then from there, discontinuance and life make death. Or is it just no? I think that's the best. They've created life and then death comes afterwards. So is Arcanus just Danu? Is Danu's kind of quote unquote real name Arcanus, because Danu is magic, but Danu simply gains the name Danu as kind of like a mother god that like birthed all the others. Or is that quintessence job as life? How intriguing. Creating a pantheon is work. And I really applaud writers that do this, because it's interesting, it's fun, it's difficult. You are literally creating everything in existence and giving it a god. So here we are. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to ask you guys to give me your ideas and see what you think about Danu being a god that wishes to create, and where Danu could possibly come from, and how quintessence exists as life before Danu herself creates life. So, is there any way we can rationalize that, or does quintessence have to come after Danu? Is quintessence Danu herself? We'll see. Give me your ideas in the comments, and I will read through them, and we can try something in the next video. All right. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you are resting well if you are trying to fall asleep to this, or you've enjoyed me and my mad ramblings about this if you're actually watching for the Pantheon content itself. I appreciate you very much, no matter who you are, and thank you very much for watching, and screw that car outside if you did hear it. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you all the best, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Before this video ends, I'd like to give a huge shout out to the disciples of Jesus Christ who support me over on Patreon. If you'd like to join them, check out the links in the description. But with that done, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.